We have completed the ACI 2 2 weeks ago, I think. So let's do review today and tomorrow before we start ACI 3 on Monday. Okay, it's exciting. Again, I would like to mention that these ACI courses, we just want to do more intensively. And my hope is that all of you have the chance to learn together. All of you have the chance to explore together so that we all can grow spiritually. And then we all can become a better person to achieve our ultimate goal. All right. And because of that, there is an increase in intensity. It is with almost once a month, right? And my commitment is that we will do it online, regardless of where I am, because I think this is something very important, and I really hope more people can learn together. We have, thanks to our friend from Indonesia and from Vietnam, arranging the translator. And then we also have, we are supposed to have Chinese, but somehow today I don't see them. So maybe it will be next session. And then we also have our friend Chloe Ma, who is in Rimrock now. Welcome, Chloe. I know it's early morning in Rimrock, right? 5 o'clock, all right? Okay, so let's continue. So this level, this course is called ACI 2. The name is Buddhist Refuge, right? Let me share my screen. So as you know, there are 18 courses, 18 basic courses. There are 18 basic courses, and all these are, in a way, they are related. They are also not, and it doesn't mean that you have to follow from 1 all the way to 18. You can, depending on the available course, you can just take part. But of course, if you can follow from 1 all the way sequentially, that is also a good way. All right. ACI 1, we talk about the 3 principal paths, and it is a very good overview of what we are going to learn. All right. And then now in ACI 2, we learn about the refuge. Refuge is a very common term that we will hear when you are learning the, I think when we learn Buddhism, we will hear this term a lot, but let's understand what this term really means. All right. Okay, before we continue further, let's do the prayer. So let's do it together. Yeah, so I think I will lead this prayer today. Sasi Puki Juksing Metok Tram Rira Blingsi Nyinde Kenpadi Sangge Singdu Mikte Ulwargi Dokun Namdak Singla Chuparsyo Idang Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. So that was mandala, and then now we are doing the refuge and the bodhicitta. Tick 3 times. Sangge Chudang Zoki Choknam La Jangchu Bardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chunyen Gipe Sunam Ki Dola Pencir Sangge Duparsyo Sangge Chudang Zoki Choknam La Jangchu Bardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chunyen Gipe Sunam Ki Dola Pencir Sangge Duparsyo. Sanghe chudang zoki choknam la Jangchu bardu dakni kapsu chi Daki chunyen gipe sunam ki Dola penchir sanghe duparsyo. Okay, let's review a bit on this one. So as you can see, we are offering mandala first. So this mandala basically means that we set our motivation, right? So we just want to, with all our effort, we want to create this mandala, which means a perfect world. And this perfect world will be a place. So this is our motivation with what we are doing. We want to create this in our mind. We want to create this perfect world for all the beings. And then following that, we have the refuge and the bodhicitta, right? So here, basically, it means that we take refuge, we go for refuge to the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, which is where Chloe came from, three jewels in New York, right? I think she dropped. And then, of course, by the power of the goodness, through listening to the Dharma, yeah. So there is a bit of incorrect translation here. This should be inner listening to the Dharma, inner listening to the Dharma, and then may I reach enlightenment for the sake of every living being. Okay, yeah, there's a mistake here. Anyway, let's correct that. Okay, so ACI 2 consists of 10 classes, like the normal ACI courses, and this is the overview of the 10 classes that are being covered, right? You can see that it is arranged in, basically there are 6 topics, and class 1 and 2 discuss about the refuge itself. 3 and 4 is the bodhicitta, or the wish for enlightenment. 5 and 6, we talk about nirvana. And then 7. So from refuge with bodhicitta, our goal is that we want to reach enlightenment. And then in order to understand that, we also need to, and in order to go into the emptiness, we also need to understand first what is emptiness empty of, which is the object that we deny. And then we will go through some of the proofs of emptiness before we discuss finally the last class is about the Maitreya. Who is Maitreya? All right. Okay, now let's jump in quickly. What is refuge? Basically, I will go through the PowerPoint pretty quickly because we have covered them. And if you want to listen to more details, you can go through the playlist, right? The playlist of the previous classes. So we talk about refuge. We talk about 3 places of refuge, also 5 kinds of ordinary taking refuge, and the purpose of taking refuge. First of all, the ancient source of ACI 2 is from the Prajna Paramita. And this is called Sutra. Sutra means that it was taught by Lord Buddha directly 2,500 years ago. And there are actually many, many versions. Here, in general, we just mentioned 3 versions: the long, the medium, and the short. In fact, the short version inside also covers the Dhammapada Sutra, for example, Heart Sutra, for example. So it is a huge book. And 800 years after Lord Buddha taught this sutra, Lord Maitreya, which is the future Buddha, taught it taught the commentary to Asanga. Asanga, if you remember the story, he went for long meditation, 12 years meditation, just to be able to meet Lord Maitreya. And the purpose is to ask about this sutra. So this is from the Indian tradition commentary. And 500 years after that, about 1200 years ago, another master from India, Master Haribhadra, taught the commentary to the teaching by Lord Maitreya. And then about 500 years ago, Kedrap Tempadarge taught the commentary to the clarification by Master Haribhadra. So you can see that this sutra is to be frank, the Mother Sutra is not easy. That's why we have all these commentaries which are trying to explain the the content. Yeah, who is trying to explain the content. And in our tradition, in our lineage, you will realize that the Kedrap Tempadarge is pretty prominent. He actually wrote a lot of textbooks we use in our school, right? Of course, together with Choni Lama. So you will see the names appear quite frequently. All right, now what is, let's talk about the perfection of wisdom. There are many meanings to perfection of wisdom. First, of course, the sutra itself. The sutra is called Prasna Paramita, or perfection of wisdom. And then it also means the perceiving of emptiness under the influence of love. Yeah. So we can see that this is a bit of review of ACI 1. If you have a direct perception of emptiness, you become an Arya. But only after you have love and compassion, after you have bodhicitta, then you become an Arya Bodhisattva. So there's a difference between Arya and Arya Bodhisattva, right? Of course, we are talking about different track of the spiritual progress. Yeah. So perfection of wisdom refers to Arya Bodhisattva. They have perceived emptiness and they also have the bodhicitta. Therefore, they are Arya Bodhisattva, which is the same as, which is also called perfection of wisdom. All right. Of course, another meaning of perfection of wisdom is the number 6, the perfection number 6. Yeah, the 6 perfections as the activities of bodhisattva. So there are 3 meanings. Okay. Let's. I think this picture is just a good overview of what we have just mentioned. Yeah. So anybody can become a bodhisattva as long as you have bodhicitta. Yeah, anybody can become a bodhisattva if you have bodhicitta. And then, as a bodhisattva, then you can have DPE, which will make you Arya Bodhisattva. And then from DPE, you can go to Nirvana after you get rid of the obstacles to mental afflictions. Yeah, which is when you become Arhat. But only when you have the bodhicitta, then you will reach the total enlightenment. Yeah, which is enlightenment, right? And this is when you clear the obstacles to omniscience, obstacles to knowledge, right? Okay. Now let's talk about refuge. What does it mean to take refuge? So there are basically 2, I like to call it 2+1 component. Yeah, 2+1 components, fear and belief. So this is the 2, right? Fear and belief. So fear means there is something you're afraid of. And then when you take refuge, you believe there is an object with power to help us, with power and willingness to help us. This is a standard definition of refuge. And then, of course, +1 means you hope that object will help us. Fear, belief, hope. And this is what I like to call it. And I think if we go further, we have so there is an ordinary refuge and there is a extraordinary refuge, right? So ordinary refuge refers to refuge when we take refuge in ordinary things, like refuge in money, for example, refuge in certain people's power, for example, refuge in certain objects, for example. So this is basically the ordinary refuge. And when we talk about extraordinary refuge, then we talk about refuge with the 3 jewels. And 3 jewels refers to the Buddha jewel, Dharma jewel, and Sangha jewel. Okay, so Buddha jewel basically refers to taking refuge in the Buddha. Yeah, we call this the ultimate place of refuge, which has satisfied both needs. What it means that Buddha is an enlightened being who has satisfied both needs, his or her own needs and others' needs. Right? We will take a look at what are these 2 needs. Okay, and then the Dharma jewel refers to the teaching that will lead us to realization of truth, and of course away from suffering. Right? Inside here there are 2 components: the cessation and the path. Cessation means the stopping, right? Stopping of what? Stopping of negative qualities, qualities in us. Path means the way to do it. Path means the way to do it to protect our mind, thoughts, and attitudes. Cessation is a very important term, and cessation means permanent elimination. Some of you who have done the Lion's Dance meditation, we have 8 + 1, right? 8 level +1. So +1, some people like to call it level 9. So +1, this is the level what we call the cessation. And basically we are learning to permanently stop, permanently eliminate our wrong understanding. Okay. And then path means the way for us to reach the cessation. Okay. Okay, and finally, the 3rd jewel is Sangha Jewel. And we have in each jewel, we divide them into apparent and real. Apparent and real, right? Apparent means what, the surface. So apparent Sangha Jewel here refers to community of nuns, monks and nuns, and lay people who practice together, But the real Sangha Jewel refers to those who have perceived emptiness directly, right? So in the case of us practicing together, we also can call ourselves a Sangha. Now, in our context, as in learning from Geshe Michael, these 3 jewels have an upgraded definition. Okay, so in the context of Geshe Michael students, Buddha jewel means what? In the context of our community, Buddha jewel means people who understand the Pen story, and have the people who understand and and really, really live using the understanding of this pen story, right? So that is the Buddha jewel. The Dharma jewel means the teaching, the pen story, the two husbands in the kitchen. So this is the Dharma jewel. And finally, the Sangha jewel are people who understand the pen and using it in their daily life. And these are the real protection, right? It doesn't mean that Buddha jewel, you will carry the Buddha pendant and then you are protected. Some people like to use that as their expression of spirituality. Is okay. It's not wrong. Just that it's not the real jewel, right? The real jewel is you have a deep belief and you aspire to become like a Buddha, with the understanding of what you are learning to satisfy your own needs and others' needs. And then Dharma jewel means you understand the pen story, you understand the two husbands in the kitchen, and finally you practice together with a group of people. So this is in our context. Sangha Jewel has 8 components, 8 qualities. It's easy. I like to call it 332, right? 332. The first 3 is the wisdom. Yeah, number 7 you can read here. The first 3 are the wisdom, or understanding. So understanding the nature of DPE, understanding that everything has emptiness, and understanding that you know that you understand. And then 4, 5, 6 are freedom, right? Freedom. So reduce attachment, possess a great vision, and spread this love to everyone, right? Possess a great vision. Okay, so these are the 8 qualities. Okay, now let's move on to class 2, which is still about the refuge. Okay, now, what is taking refuge? We talk about the fear, hope, fear, belief, and hope, right? So this is taking refuge. Here talking about changing our behavioral patterns. Wow, this is difficult words. Changing our behavior. So that means we also need, I mentioned we need to understand the emptiness and karma and emptiness in the kitchen. When we have issues, when the husband yell back at us, we don't yell back. When the husband yell at us, we don't yell back. Yeah, so we understand the emptiness and karma and emptiness. K and E. Now, 2 kinds of refuge. We talk about we mentioned that already, the ordinary refuge, right? Ordinary refuge as compared to extraordinary refuge. So ordinary means we have a fear and we believe an object has some power to help us. Whereas ultimate refuge, exceptional refuge, refers to the 3 jewels, right? Which is Buddha jewel, Dharma jewel, and Sangha jewel. All right. Now, where does the motivation for taking refuge, where does the object come from? Yeah, our own inner realization. And this is achieved through the learning and our practice. Okay. The goal of taking refuge, right? So we have a short-term goal and we have a long-term goal. So we can see that the short-term goal refers to the worldly protection and also the inner path. We go into the inner path. Only when, after you take the refuge, then you go into the spiritual path, right? The 5 spiritual path. The 5 spiritual path. And taking refuge normally is done after we have renunciation, when we are tired of the problems in this world, tired of the sufferings in this world, then after we understand that, after we have renunciation that we discuss in ACI 1, then we go into refuge. We fear the problems, and then we have the belief that the three jewels can help us, and then we go into the refuge, right? And also is the requirement to enter the practice of secret practice. It is the requirement to enter the secret practice. And secret practice means opportunity to be enlightened in lifetime. All right. So this is the short-term goal. Of course, the long-term, the ultimate goal is to attain the Buddhahood, to attain enlightenment. That is the long-term goal. 3 kinds of motivation. Yeah, I think we discussed about this in ACI 1 already. We have a small scope, medium scope, and greater scope. Small scope refers to those who wants to have better rebirth. They don't want to fall into the 3 lower rebirth. Medium scope refers to wanting to get out of the wheel, get out of the wheel of suffering. And of course, greater scope means want to get out of this for self and for others, right? So these are the 3 scopes. And then now let's talk about the 5 exceptional refuge. 5 exceptional refuge. First, we refer to the 3 scope, right? So the first one is called the small scope. Yeah, small scope. Kebu Chung. Kebu Chung is the small scope. Yeah, people with a small scope, and then Nyentu means the listener track. The listener track, right? Listener track. And their motivation is to go into a better rebirth, better rebirth. They don't want to go into the 3 lower realms. Basic belief, they believe in the next life. Mind stream continues to exist. And then they also believe in the lower realms, right? Lower realms. The second one is called the Kebu Drink, the medium scope. Yeah, the medium scope, and Kebu Drink. And Rangyal means this is the second track, which is the self-made Buddha track. Yeah, with a small b, Rangyal. Rangyal, right? And medium scope. So we mentioned before, medium scope means they want to get out of the wheel of suffering. Cyclic existence refer to the will, right? And they believe in the 3 jewels to bring us out of this suffering. The practice is to put karma into practice, understand the will of life, and how to get out of the samsara. This is the SCIM 6 that is going on now, SCIM 6, right? We are talking about will of life, addiction. The third one is called Kebu Chempo, which means the greater scope, yeah, the great scope, Kebu Chempo, and the goal is Jangsen. Jangsen means bodhisattva, yeah, bodhisattva. Jangchuk Kisem, yeah, bodhisattva, right? So here we want to get out of the will together with others, yeah, bodhisattva with bodhicitta. And of course, the practice is the 6 perfections that I mentioned just now, right? And then 3 plus 2. What are the other 2? Gyui Kyamdro. Gyui Kyamdro. Gyui means, this is the 4th kind. Gyui means the cause. Yeah, Kyamdro is refuge. Gyui Kyamdro, refuge in the cause. Cause means we take refuge in quality of others who has done it before. Yeah, cause. This is the cause for them to become enlightened. That's why we call it cause refuge. And finally, which is beautiful, is called the Drebui Kyamdro. Drebui is the result. Result, refuge. Refuge in the result. What result? Our own result. When we practice, we get enlightened. That is our result. So we take refuge in our own result. We take refuge in our future Buddha, our future three jewels. All beings has this, we call it the Buddhahood, which is the Tathagata Garbha. That means one day in future, all of us will become enlightened. We don't know when. So when we become enlightened, we have the omniscience. That means we will be able to know the past, the present, and the future. Means the future us as a Buddha would also have the knowledge of us, our condition now. So we can take refuge in our future jewels, right? Future Buddha. So this is Drebui Kyamdra, result refuge. Now let's continue further. So there are 8 qualities also, or 6 qualities, right? No, yeah, 8 qualities of Buddha jewel, right? So we say that the Buddhahood is uncaused, spontaneous, realized by no other way, and then they have knowledge, love, and power, right? And finally, feels the needs of self and others. Uncaused, spontaneous, and realized by no other. These are the three. These are the 3 qualities, right? So there are no other costs. There are no costs. Buddha jewel can only be achieved when you eliminate the 2 obstacles. Yeah. So at this stage, we don't call it cause and effect anymore. That's why we say there is no cause. There is no cause and effect, so there is no cause. After we eliminate the 2 obstacles, we become enlightened. Spontaneous means immediately. Yeah, there is no graduation, there is nothing. At the moment you eliminate these 2, you become enlightened and realize by no other way. Yeah, there is no other method to reach the Buddhahood. And of course, we also talk about these 3 knowledge, love, and power. I like to always repeat, this is what we learn in DCI level 8, the leadership, automatic leadership. A leader has these 3 qualities. They have the knowledge, they know where to go. They know where to go, where to lead the people to go. They have the love, to lead people to the better destination, better goal. And of course, they have the power to lead the people, to bring the people. In this case, to teach. This power doesn't mean omnipotent. It doesn't mean the highest power. It only means that they have the ability to teach us, to bring us to the destination. And finally, feel the needs of self and feel the needs of others. Feel the needs of self means they also aspire to have the Buddha's body. This is referring to the Buddha's body, right? They want to have the Buddha's body. This means enlightened body for self and also for others. Others means they also want to develop the emanation body to help others, right? So these are the 8 qualities of Buddha jewel. Okay, now class 3 and 4, we are talking about bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is a definition. Bodhicitta can be divided into 2, the wish and the action. And we are going to learn the definition, the short definition by Lord Maitreya. And then we will also discuss a bit about the long definition. All right. So we repeat again, this is the 8 qualities of Buddha jewel. Yeah. Now, before we go into all this, we need to review a bit about the 4 ancient schools of Buddhism, right? Okay, translator, let's drink first. for ancient schools of Buddhism, you can see that we can divide them into Hinayana and Mahayana, right? Hina means small, Maha means big, Yana means the cycle, the container, right? Or wheel, yeah, container. Small container, big container, small wheel, big wheel, right? Yana. So the Hinayana, we use the term Abhidhamma. We call it Abhidhamma school or Detailist school, yeah. Abhidhamma school or the Detailist school. And then on top of that, we have what we call Sutra school or Logic school or Sautrantika. Sautrantika, Sutra, Sautrantika. And then Mahayana is divided into mind-only school, Yogacara or called Chittamatra, and then middle way, Madhyamika, right? And then middle way is divided into independent, the lower middle way, independent school, independent branch, and the higher middle way or Prasangika, or consequence. We call it consequence, right? Or yeah, implication of consequence. Independent school is also called a Svatantrika, right? So this is Sautrantika, this one Svatantrika. Swa means independent, Sva, right? And of course, they have a different definition of emptiness that we will later touch a bit on that, yeah. So bodhicitta, long definition, there are two parts, yeah. I think we can quickly go through this. Main mental awareness. It is the main mental awareness. Main mental awareness belonging to the greater way, focused on achieving total enlightenment for the benefit of others, and matched with a state of mind associated with the aspiration to achieve total enlightenment. Part 2, it is a knowledge belonging to the greater way, which acts as a door for entering the greater way, and include into the activity side of the standard division of the view and activity. So this is the bodhisattva, this is the bodhicitta in the form of prayer and action. Yeah, and bodhicitta here that we refer to is bodhicitta that we are talking here is the activity side, the action type. Okay, now let's go through quickly. So 2 parts. Part number 1, they want to reach Buddhahood. Part 2, they want to help others. Yeah, this is the long definition. The short definition by Lord Maitreya is easy. They wish to achieve enlightenment for the sake of others. Okay, so this is the common definition that we always use, right? Okay, so we say that it is the main mental awareness. It's the main. It's not the mental function. It's the main mental awareness. And then we use a proof here that our mind, the main mind, we can only have one thought. So we are saying that this must be main because there are 2 activities to become enlightened and to help others. These are the 2 main activities, and it cannot be mental function. It has to be the main, right? It has to be the main mental awareness. Okay, you can listen back to the previous recording. We discussed about this logic quite thoroughly, right? And it has to be an awareness. It has to be mental, right? It has to be mental. It is not just sensory awareness. It is the mental awareness. So we divide into mental awareness and sensory consciousness, right? And then we also discuss about the mental part or mental part. So it is not the sense organs or sense consciousness. Yeah, so we are talking about the mental awareness of us as a human being, right? And then we also talk about it belongs to the greater way. So here we want to eliminate the sugarcane bodhicitta. Sugarcane, if you know the sugarcane, yeah, the skin is the sugarcane. Inside actually is empty. Yeah, so we are talking about sugar. When we say sugarcane bodhicitta, it means that we are only, it is a force. It is only in theory. Maybe it's just in our mind, but we have not really embodied the bodhicitta. So this is sugarcane bodhicitta, right? And by saying that it belongs to the greater way, we want to emphasize that this is embodied. This is embodied, right? Oh, okay. You can see the PowerPoint, Chloe. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. I can, yeah, I'll send you later, all right? And then total enlightenment. Yeah. There are 3 tracks. We always say that there are 3 tracks of spiritual path. And basically, I mentioned before, we have the listener, Nyentu, yeah, listener, self-made Buddha, Rangyal, and then the greater way, the Bodhisattva way, Samkhya, yeah, Samkhya, right, the bodhicitta. So when we say total, we want to refer to the greater way. We want to eliminate the 2 lower wishes, which is for nirvana only, the small nirvana. So we refer this to the total enlightenment. So this is the explanation about the listener, self-made Buddha in greater way. And then we also put the word for the benefit of others, meaning that we want to emphasize that this is for the greater way, right? So, yeah. All right, and finally, benefit for others. So this is how we want the bodhicitta to reflect the bodhisattva way instead of the listener, the self-made Buddha. All right. So that is the class 3 and class 4. We go into different kind of bodhicitta, right? We can divide into level of spiritual understanding, how we think, basic nature, and the seeds and the pen. Now let's take a look. So spiritual progress, spiritual understanding, we can divide into 3 tracks. Each track will have 5 paths, right? Basically, they are very similar. The 5 paths have the same name. Oh, you can't see. Oh, sorry. Okay, nobody could see my PowerPoint, right? Okay, you all need to speak out, right? Otherwise, it becomes radio show. You don't see anything. Okay, so 5 paths. Yeah, now can see. Why nobody say anything? Only Chloe, and Chloe was not telling me clearly. Okay, the 5 paths, right? Basically, we divide. Let's take a look, yeah? So we have the accumulation, path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of habituation, and path of no more learning, right? Now let's take a look. Where are the bodhicitta levels on this chart? The first type of bodhicitta is in the path of accumulation and path of preparation. Okay, the first type is called the belief wish. Bodhicitta can be divided into 4 types. The first type is called the belief wish. So this occurs in the first 2 paths. Let's have a quick review of the 5 paths, right? Path accumulation, we enter into path accumulation when we have renunciation. Yeah, we are tired of the problems in this world, and then we take refuge. That is the path of accumulation, right? And then in the DCI language, we call it the disaster. When you face disaster, big or small, and then when you are trying to find, and then you are trying to find the solution. One day when somebody introduced the pain story to you, you enter the path of preparation. And then after you learn the pain story, you learn all the DCI levels, you learn all the ACI courses, you do your practice, you plant all your seeds. One day you will go into the path of seeing when you have the direct perception of emptiness. That happened in 20 minutes. And after that, because you have already have the direct perception, you start to get used to what you have perceived directly. And then also putting the practice, the learning into practice. This is called the path of habituation. Finally, one day, you will become enlightened and you enter into the path of no more learning. Okay? So in the first type of bodhicitta, the belief wish, you have the wish, but things still appear this way, right? Things still appear to come from its own side. And you still believe that things coming from its own side. This is why we have a lot of mental afflictions. The second kind of bodhicitta is called, which is in the path of seeing, is called personal responsibility, right? So when we are in the direct perception of emptiness, followed by direct perception of bodhicitta, when we start to see all the beings appearing in front of us, we promise them that we will go and help them. Yeah. So this is called personal responsibility. Laksam namdak, if you heard of that term before. The buck stops with me. No matter what, I will do it, even if there is nobody helping me, right? And then the third type is called, it is happening in path of habituation. It's called ripened wish. Ripened wish and have the wish, right? The wish is ripened. So although we see things this way, but we don't believe it anymore. Yeah. Although we still see them this way, but we don't believe anymore. Different from belief wish. Belief wish means you see them coming this way, you still believe them coming this way. You see people yelling at you, you believe that they are yelling at you. But at this stage, the third type, you see people yelling at you, but you don't believe they are yelling at you. You don't believe, you know that they are coming from our seats. And finally, the fourth type, happening at the path of no more learning, is called eliminated all obstacles, the 2 obstacles, right? So at this moment, you don't see things coming this way. You don't think they are this way, and you don't have the seeds to see them having self-existence, right? And then how about the 6 perfections? Yes, in general, we talk about perfection of giving. Geshe Michael like to call it perfection of sharing now instead of giving, sharing. And then perfection of perfection of morality, perfection of patience. Or Geshe Michael like to call it not getting angry. Yeah, it's not only patience, but not getting angry. Perfection of joyful effort, or sometimes we call it perfection of effort, doing things happily. And then perfection of meditation, and finally perfection of wisdom. Okay. Now, yeah. No, we learned about the 10 bodhisattva levels taught by Master Sangha, right? Master Sangha taught these bodhisattva levels. So we can see that there are 10 levels. You enter level 1 when you have DPE, direct perception of emptiness. Yeah. And then along the way, along the way, so this, along the way, 1, 2, 3, along the way, during the habituation, part of habituation, you go through, so when you go into the level 1, you start to focus on the perfection of sharing. 1, and then once you perfect this, you go into level 2, perfection of morality, and then you go into, once you master that, you go into 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is where you do the perfection of wisdom. And then once this is done, you go into 7, which is perfection, which is the skillful means. And then once you master that, you go into level 8. This is called high bodhisattva. Yeah, you are high bodhisattva. And then this is where you are reaching your Buddhahood very quickly. It's very close already, 8, 9, 10. After 10, then you reach your enlightenment, right? Which is the path of normal learning. Is it the same wish? What are you talking about? Now, let's talk about the bodhicitta division. 3 kinds. So we can divide into 3 kinds by the way we think. So just now we talk about bodhicitta, 4 types of bodhicitta. So we can divide bodhicitta into 4 types. Yeah, 4 types: the belief, wish, the personal responsibility, the realized, and then finally the normal learning. Yeah, those are the 4 kinds of bodhicitta. How about the 3 kinds of bodhicitta? We can divide it into the way we think, right? And those of you who have attended an automatic leadership, you will be familiar. The king type, the king wish, means I will become enlightened first and come and help all of you, all other beings. The second type is a shepherd. Let's go together. Let's get enlightened together. And finally, the shepherd means I will help you become enlightened before I get enlightened myself. And then finally, the ferryman. Let's get enlightened together. Now the question, 2 of them are technically wrong. Which are they? Which are they? This has become like monologue. Let's have dialogue. Okay, let's have dialogue. No, okay, let's have dialogue. No dialogue. All right. No, okay, I saw answer already. Yeah, 2 and 3 are wrong. Yeah, correct, right? So the correct one is the king. Yeah, only when we are enlightened that we can help others. Before we are enlightened, the help that we can give is not ultimate. It's not ultimate, all right? Okay. Now we can divide the wish into 2. And there are 2 ways. The first one is by the basic nature. What are they? The prayer, the prayer, which is the wish, the prayer, and then the action. The prayer and action. Prayer means you only have it in your mind, but you are not really committed to do. And then finally, in action means you are doing it, right? And this is basically in the form of the bodhisattva vows. Yeah, we can take the vows in the form of wish. We can take the vow in the form of action. Action means you really observe the vows. Yeah, 18 and 4 plus 46, which will give you 64, right? We can also divide the wish into 2 based on the reality. And this is basically the ultimate and the apparent. Ultimate and the apparent, deceptive, right? Okay, let's go to class 5. 5 and 6, we are talking about definition of nirvana. And I think let's have a 5 minutes break, okay, to give our translator time to rest for a while. And then for all of you to digest the first 4 classes. All right, I know this is, we're going pretty fast because this is a review class. I hope you don't become scared and run away, okay? Let's hang on. All right, let's have a 5 minutes break. Okay, let's continue. Okay, let's continue. Now let's talk about the nirvana. Okay, class 5 and 6, we are talking about the nirvana and 5 definitions of nirvana. This part should be quite easy. So we are talking about what it means by individual analysis, mental affliction, bakchak or mental potential, and finally also the different types of cessation and the 4 types of balanced mind. Okay, let's continue. Definitions of nirvana. Basically, nirvana means going beyond grief, gone beyond grief. You hold on, let me check something. There is a hold on. Okay, now if I think this definition of nirvana in Tibetan is permanent cessation when one has okay, sorry. Please give me a moment. I need to reply this message first. I'm confused. All right. Okay, so this is a definition that we always use, permanent cessation after you have eliminated the mental affliction obstacles. So this is the obstacles to mental affliction, yeah, and then due to one's individual analysis. So we are going to talk about what it means by this individual analysis later. And if you come to early sessions of the mixed nuts, you will always hear Geshe Michael asking Nick to give this definition, right? And you will hear Nick will start to say to mention this sentence. Yundrup malupar pangpe sosor panggok nyangde kichen. Yeah, Cheni means definition. Nyangde means the nirvana. Nirvana is nyangde. And then Tanggok means cessation. Sosor Tanggok, right? Cessation of the mental affliction. Nyundrup is the mental affliction obstacles. Yeah. And then individual analysis. Okay, let's move on. So individual analysis refers to the personal realization of the various individual details of the 4 realized truth. This is Geshe Michael's pet peeve, right? Meaning that he is sort of annoyed with the wrong translation. People like to call it 4 noble truth, but in fact, there is nothing noble about it. There is nothing noble about it. In fact, it should be called 4 Arya truth. 4 Arya truth, right? So individual analysis here refers to our realization of the details of the 4 Arya truth after DPE. So after the 20 minutes direct perception of emptiness, after you go through the direct perception of bodhicitta, then you will go through this personal realization of the 4 Arya truth. What are they? well, I think we can say that the truth of suffering, the truth of the source of suffering, no, the truth of suffering, the truth of the source of suffering, the truth of the cessation of the suffering, and finally the truth of the path of the cessation of the suffering. So those are the four. Area truth. What do we eliminate? Basically, eliminate here permanently. Eliminate permanently. Cessations is like we blow out the candle flame, and permanent elimination referring to the mental affliction obstacles. Right. So basically, there are two: the past mental affliction and the current negative emotion. Yeah. Sorry, the mental affliction, the negative emotion which has happened and currently, and also the seeds. So first is the mental affliction, second is the seeds that will open up in the future. So we stop these two. We eliminate these two permanently. All right. So it's permanently eliminated. So this cessation can happen before the path of seeing, but normally it is during the path. Well, we can say that this is interesting, right? This can happen. We say that the path number 2, the path of preparation, we can divide this path number 2 into four divisions, right? The last one just before the path of seeing is where you actually permanently eliminate all those negative emotions and sorry, I said wrongly. Okay, I said wrongly. Apology. Path of seeing doesn't eliminate. Only when we eliminate all the obstacles to negative emotion, then we go into the nirvana. But here, path of seeing, we are saying that this cessation can happen before the path of seeing can happen, but it doesn't mean that it will happen in all cases. And here we say that it is an insurance policy, meaning you cannot fall to the lower realms. Okay? And what does it mean? What does it mean, right? Here there are more details of the path of cessation. It means, if you remember, right, we mentioned that we want to listen to the pen story at least 3,000 times. And when we listen it 3,000 times, we like to say that then you can go into the path of seeing. Of course, you need all the relevant seeds, all the necessary seeds. But if you really, really understand the pen story, and you can understand the things, although they appear to come from its own side, in actual fact, it is coming from our seeds. At that moment, when you can really understand this, Geshe Michael said that we can never fall to the lower realms. So this is like an insurance policy. It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful, right? And of course, during the direct perception of emptiness, there are 3 things that will be eliminated forever. Yeah, that is the permanent elimination. There are only 3. What are they? The first one is the doubts of the practice. Yeah, at that moment means you will not. One of them is the doubt. So when you have the direct perception of emptiness, you will not have doubt anymore. You will be able to understand that the pen theory itself is not wrong. It's always there. Yeah, so we eliminate the doubt. We eliminate the extreme practices. And finally, we go into, so we eliminate the doubt, we eliminate the extreme practices, and we will be able to go in the middle way. Yeah. So these are the 3 things that we we eliminate permanently, and we will be able to practice them well. That's why we say that the direct perception of emptiness is like going into the conveyor belt, or the traditional term is called stream enterer. You enter the stream, and you are guaranteed to reach enlightenment in maximum 7 lifetimes or 500 years. All right. Cessation, never have to go to lower realm. So what do we eliminate here, right? Oops. So after we get into this direct perception of emptiness, after we understand the pen story, we will never have to go to the lower realm. And at that moment, we will start to work on the Lokta. Lokta is the wrong view. Wrong view, right? Wrong view. This is the view. Lokta is the wrong view. Yeah. In fact, I just remember this few days ago at the Peachtree World News. Keshe Michael was teaching about these worldviews, right? There are 101 belief systems, and most of them, except the middle way, they are talking about the wrong views of the world system, right? So we talk about the Lokta, right? And this is based on the book being translated by Ben Kramer, and this will be the base of the advanced level 3, right? So believing in wrong cuts the root of our virtue. That's the problem, you see. In this life, we are saying that as long as we are inside the wheel, that means we still have the wrong view. That means we still have wrong view. And this wrong view will cut the root of our virtue. Means what? Whatever that we do inside the wheel, although those are good things, but they are called dirty good karma or stained good karma. Right? So only when we can get out of this wheel, then it will become unstained. But what can we do? Yeah, we say that inside the wheel, even our sense organs, our instruments are broken. And because they are broken, they are producing the stained good karma. But we say that no matter what, even when they are stained, we still have to do them. But of course, at the same time, we try to make them unstained. And the only way to have unstained good karma is to do good karma with the 4 steps. Yeah. Or in ACI term, we say with the understanding of the emptiness. All right. So it might not be easy to do things with the understanding of emptiness, but if you do the 4 steps, you are sort of guaranteed to produce unstained good karma. Okay. So that we don't have, when we have the understanding of the emptiness, we are actually getting rid of the wrong view. And because we get rid of the wrong view, we still have our root of virtue. We still can produce good karma, which is unstained. All right. Okay, now we talk about the 2 obstacles. Obstacles to enlightenment, there are 2. We call it the mental affliction obstacles, or Nyundrip, and the obstacles to the omniscience or total knowledge. To get out of the wheel, to reach nirvana, we need to get rid of the mental affliction obstacles. Obstacles to omniscience is not necessary in this case, right? It's not necessary. All right. So that means you can reach nirvana, but you have not reached enlightenment. Yeah, that is the possibility. And then we talk about the bakchak potential, the seeds, the potential, right? Bakchak can be positive Mental can be positive, can be negative. They are not mental affliction. Right? It is only potential. But even then, we don't want to have all this mental potential so that we don't get pulled back into this wheel of suffering. So what can stop new bakchak is only our wisdom. Yeah, wisdom. Order, understanding, correct understanding. Understanding of the correct worldview. Yeah, these are the four area truth. The four area truth, not four noble truth. Yeah. So we talk about the truth of suffering, the source of suffering, the cessation, and the path. Right. So let's not talk too much about this one. And finally, let's talk about different kinds of nirvana. The first kind is called natural nirvana, rangsin nyande. Natural nirvana is not actually nirvana, it's only referring to ultimate reality. It is also another term for emptiness, right? It's not nirvana in the sense that we get rid of the mental afflictions. This is just like the blank white screen that we can project our seeds into. And this is also called Buddhahood, right? Or Tathagata Garba, Rangsinyante. Okay, let's go to the other kind of nirvana. So this is class 6 already. Let's talk about some definitions, okay? Some definitions. First, we have the mental affliction. We have a mental affliction, or it's called negative emotion. In Tibetan, it's called nyunmong. In Sanskrit, it's called klesha. In Pali, it's called kilesha. Yeah. So this is basically mental afflictions or negative emotions or bad thoughts. Okay. Nyundrip is the obstacles to the mental affliction. Nyundrip. Nyun is the nyunmong, from nyunmong. Drip is the obstacles of the mental affliction. Bakchak is the mental seeds, mental stain or seeds, potential. Yeah. These are the definition. And then, now there are 4 kinds of nirvana. First, we spoke about this, right? Rangsinyande, natural nirvana. Okay, it's a blank screen. It's the inner potential. It's the emptiness, right? Second kind of nirvana is called Hlakchenyangde, nirvana with something left over. It just means that you still have the body, right? So when you get rid of the obstacles to mental affliction, you reach the state of nirvana. And if you are still alive, you still have the body, we call it nirvana with something left over. And this happens a lot during the time of Lord Buddha. When he was teaching, the monks suddenly get rid of the obstacles to mental affliction, and then they reach the state of nirvana. And because they still have the body, which is called the stained part of them due to their past sins, then this is called nirvana with something left over. And then when they pass on, when they don't have this human body anymore, they call nirvana with nothing left over. Yeah, hlak me nyangde. Me means nothing. Yeah, not without a leftover. So no more body left. And then finally the last one, Minepe nyangde sita shita, right? Nirvana which does not stay in the extreme of samsara and extreme of peace. So the previous nirvana that we discussed is nirvana with small n. Now this nirvana is nirvana with big N, nirvana. So this is basically another term for enlightenment, total Buddhahood. Does not stay in the extreme of samsara, refers to the inside the will. Extreme of peace means the arahat state, right? Where you are in the extreme of peace, So this is, extreme of peace is not what we want. It's not the total enlightenment. Total enlightenment is not staying in those two extremes. Yeah, and we call it nirvana that does not stay. Nirvana that does not stay, right? So it is a total enlightenment, and not in the extreme of samsara and not in the extreme of peace. Right? This is total enlightenment. So how do you get to nirvana? There are three extraordinary training. The first one is the extraordinary training of wisdom. We need to study to realize emptiness, to have DPE. We need to practice the pen and the two husbands, right? This is the training of wisdom. Second, extraordinary training of morality and concentration. Ethics, morality. Keep your book, Tundruk. 6 times book, 3 times book, Tundruk, right? So besides studying hard and practicing hard, you need to observe your morality. Do your 6 times book. Yeah. And then, of course, the concentration. Do your meditation. These are the 3 extraordinary training that you need in order to get into nirvana. All right? So, yeah, of course, we want to go into DPE, direct perception of emptiness, and after that we need to habituate, need to get used to what we have seen during the direct perception. Yeah, especially very important is understanding of the pen story and the 2 husbands in the kitchen. Never yell back, right? And we said that the second husband is a gakcha that never existed, never could exist, and doesn't even exist now, and will never exist in the future. All right? And this gakcha will be our topic of class 7. So now let's discuss a bit about the 5 hips, right? Nirvana with something like leftover, plug chain yang there, right? The 5 hips, basically we talk about body and mind, right? Oh, the Chinese is gone here. Okay, body and mind. So in the will, this is link number 4, body and mind. After the raw karma enters the awareness in the form of the monkey, then it will create a body and mind. And here, the 5 hips, body and mind, we divide the mind into 4. Body is here. Mind, we have the main mind. We have the feeling. We have so first we have the main mind, and then we have the feeling, number 2. We have the discrimination, number 3. We have etc., number 4. And finally, we have the form, number 5, right? And we discuss, right, which are the culprits. Which are the culprits? Culprits, plural, means there are more than one. Which are the culprits of our mental affliction, negative emotions? And we mentioned that the culprits are basically the feelings and the discrimination. The feeling. I feel bad. I feel sad. I feel what? All these are mental affliction. And discrimination. I like this. I don't like that. I prefer this. I don't want that. So this is discrimination. These are the 2 that will cause the mental affliction. And yeah, so let's talk about the results when we have DPE, right? So arhat, which is the nirvana state of nirvana, yeah, is called the 4th result, number 4, right? Arhat is part of the listener and the self-made Buddha, the self-made, yeah. And why is the 4th result? Because there are 3 more results before. The first one is called the stream enterer. You remember we talked about the DPE, right? The direct perception of emptiness. Once you have direct perception of emptiness, you get into the conveyor belt, or you call it, or traditionally it's called stream enterer. Yeah, stream enterer. Sotapanna, I think is the term in Pali, right? And this is basically all the 3 tracks will have this: Bodhisattva track, listener track, and the self-made track. And then along the way, you will, during the habituation, you will go into the state of once returner. Once returner, once returner means you will only return once into the desire realm. Desire realm, yeah, once returner. Non-returner means you don't return back to the desire realm. Yeah, but you will still return to the form and formless realm, right? And finally, number 4 is the Arhat, foe destroyer. And finally, I think this is the last slide for today. Yeah. So according to the Svatantrika school, which is the lower middle way, and before, yeah, and before. So we can say that nirvana with something left over means a nirvana with the body produced by impure seeds. Whereas nirvana with nothing left over means you have achieved nirvana and you don't have any more body. Yeah. The Prasangika school, the higher middle way, the definition is reversed. They have different definition, I would say. So in all the other schools, we start with nirvana with something left over before we go to nirvana with nothing left over. But in the implication school, we go with nirvana with nothing left over before nirvana with something left over. Nirvana with nothing left over means you reach the state of nirvana without bodhicitta, and then you need to restart again by adding in the bodhicitta, and finally you reach the nirvana with something left over, which means that nirvana with bodhicitta. Yeah, that means is total Buddhahood, total enlightenment with big N. All right. So I think, yeah, this is all for today. Yeah, I think we have covered 6 review classes. We have reviewed 6 classes. And tomorrow we are going into class 7, 8, 9, 10. Class 7 will be the gaccha, things that we deny. And then class 8 and 9 will be proof of emptiness. And then class 10 will be the Maitreya, Lord Maitreya. All right. So I hope you had a good review today. If you are still confused with the content, you can listen back to the recording in the Telegram. And then, and then we will see you tomorrow if there is no questions. Any questions? No?
Teacher Sugan.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes,
you say that the last part you said that when you reach Buddha or what, you still have the body.
Oh no, we are talking about nirvana.
Nirvana. Oh.
Nirvana. Nirvana actually is a context of small n. Yeah, small n. Yeah. It's the arhat.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the arhat lah. Let's say you reach a Buddha, you don't have body already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, bodiless, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have a different body, different kind of body. Okay, the body is the pure state body. It's not impure. Okay.
Pure state body.
Yeah.
So you also have this bodhicitta lah, or this
Yes. So you remember we learned about 4 types of Buddha's body, right? They will have body, but Buddha's body in this case is a pure state. It's not impure.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
so they also have bodhicitta, all this lah.
Of course,
Yeah.
need to have bodhicitta. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Let's. Oh yeah, photo and prayer. Thank you, Crystal. Always helping to remind me. Okay, let's take picture. Okay. I will take myself. Let me get rid of the chat box and. All right, ready? Ready? All of you. Okay, final chance to turn on your camera if you want to. If not, then 1, 2, 3. Yay. Oh, I saw a Korean here. Chantel Fong, how are you? Miss Korea. Oh, Tommy Lok is here also. Wow, cool. All right. So, okay, thank you very much for joining me today. We'll see you tomorrow for class 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, teacher,
Bye.
student, for
Bye-bye.
teaching today. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Good night. Bye.
Thank you so